In this lesson, we would understand how to represent, compare, and order decimals up to tens. Let's first understand what are decimal numbers. If we have a number 3.2, we see that the number has a dot in between. This dot is called decimal. There is a number before the dot and there is a number after this dot. So the dot represents the decimal. Numbers that go before the dot follow the place value chart: ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and 10,000s. Whereas the numbers that go after the decimal, they have a new place value represented as tenths, and so on. This video we would just understand how to represent decimal up to tens. So tenths means one place after the decimal, or tenths means one place on the right side of the decimal. Let's understand this with an example. So if we have to know the place value of this number 3.2, this is the decimal. Number before decimal is ones place because we just have one number. Number after the decimal is called tenths place. So how do we represent numbers with decimals? Is we put number, dot, and number. Because we are just considering decimals up to 10, so we would just consider one place after the decimal. Let's take up another example. If we have 14.7, what is the place value? This is the decimal, ones place, tens place. After the decimal, first place is called tenths place. Similarly, if you have a big number such as 43510.2 and we have to write on the place values, we would go before the decimal and the place values would be ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. After the decimal, place value is called the tenths place. Now when it comes to comparing decimals, let's say we have to compare 3.5 with 3.7. The first thing we have to do is, when we are comparing numbers or comparing decimals, is count the number of digits. We have 2 digits in both the numbers. If we have 2 digits, that means the next thing we have to do is check the place values one by one. And when we are comparing the place values, we move from left to right. So the first place is 3. First place is 3. That is on the ones place. Always remember, whenever we are comparing places, we are comparing the same place value. So ones place here is 3. Ones place here is 3. Next we have is tenths place. Here also we have tenths place. We have a 5 at tenths place in the first number, and we have a 7 at tenths place in the second number. And we see 7 is greater than 5, so we put a greater than sign towards 3.7. Let's say we have to compare 131.4 with 131. We notice that there is no decimal here. When there is no decimal in a given number, the decimal is always at the end. And if there is no number written on the 10th place, we assume that the number is 0. And this is always true. So if we have any number, let's say 5 is a number and we notice there is no decimal, then the decimal is always after the number. And if you want to fill the first place after decimal and there is no number, we can fill it up as a 0. Now let's compare. Digits are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's compare the place values. 1, 1 at the hundredths place. If you want to write on the place value on the top, you can do so. So 1 on the hundredths place, 1 on the hundredths place, which is same. 3 on the tenths place, 3 on the tens place is same. 1 on the ones place, 1 on the ones place is again same. Now we have to compare the number on the tenths place, and that is 4 in the first number and 0 in the second number. 4 is greater than 0, so greater than sign will go towards 131.4. Let's take another example. If we have 3, 1 and we have to compare it to 1.3. Here we notice that there is no decimal again. So whenever we are comparing number with a decimal number, we always make sure that we put a decimal at the end of the number and fill the first decimal place after the decimal as 0. Then we compare the numbers. So now we see we have 3 digits here and we have 2 digits here. Definitely we know that a 3-digit number is greater than a 2-digit number, so this will go greater than this. But if you want to compare their place values, you can also do so. Write down the places. we have ones, we have tenths. So here we have on the tens place number 3. We have no number on the tens place here. That means the number on the tens place would have been 0. If there is no number on any place value, that means the number is a 0. So if we compare 3 with 0, 3 is greater than 0. So there itself we know that this number is greater than this number. That's how we put this greater than sign towards 31.0. Similarly, we can order decimal numbers. Let's say we have to arrange this first example in ascending order. Ascending means going from smallest to greatest. So first we count the number of digits, 1, 2, 3, 4 digits in the first number, 1, 2, 3, 4 digits in the second number. And here we have 2 digits. We see these numbers are with decimals and this number is without decimal. Please make sure you put a decimal and 0 after the decimal. Now they look alike. So this is a 3-digit number. Because we have to arrange it from least to greatest, ascending order is least to greatest. We'll put this first. So this would be 17.0. Next is going to be out of this or this. How do we decide? Is both a 4-digit number, so we check the place values. 3 is compared to 1. Because 1 is smaller than 3, we put 124.2 first, and at the end we put 341.5. Same way we can order numbers in descending order or decreasing order, that is from greatest to least. Another question that can be asked is, draw a number line from 4.2 to 6.7 and represent 5.6 on it. How do we do this type of a question is, we first make a number line. We have to go from 4.2 to 6.7. So technically we have to go from 4 to 6. We can mark it anywhere on the number line. 5 can be placed right in between 4 and 6. Now these gaps in between 4 and 5 and 6 will be filled with 1 decimal places. And how do we make it? So here we have these blue lines. These are small. These represent the decimal 1 place. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, how do we write down what these lines represent is, this first place is 4.1. Second place is 4.2. Next is 4.3. Next is 4.4, 4.5, 4.6, 4.7, 4.8, 4.9, and after that we have a 5. So technically what we are doing is we are adding 0.1 to the previous number. So when we add 4 and 0.1, we get 4.1. How do we add it? 4 is without decimal, so we always put a decimal after the number with a 0, plus 0.1. So this is tenths place added to tenths place, ones place added to ones place, and the total that we get is 4.1. And we keep adding 0.1 each time in order to get up till 4.9. After 4.9, when we add 0.1, we would be able to get 9 plus 1, 10, 4 plus 1, 5. So this is 5.0 or 5 means the same thing. Similarly, after 5 we count. This is 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.4. You don't have to write on up and down like this. It's because the space is a little congested. So just to avoid any confusion, I'm writing one number on top and the other line I'm marking at the bottom. But you can do everything on top or you can write on everything at the bottom. It does not make a difference. So this one is 5.5, 5.6, 5.7, 5.8, and this is 5.9. When we add 0.1 to it, we get 6. They want us to represent 5.6. So how do we represent 5.6? We know this number is 5.6. So we can mark this point with a circle, or you can mark it with a different colored pen, and you can circle this as 5.6. So let's quickly summarize a number line. If we have any number, let's say 1 and the next number is 2. Up till now we were making whole number lines. Whenever you used to make number lines, you were just making whole number lines. So if in case we have 0, 1, 2, 3, these are called whole number lines. Now, what is there in between 1 and 2? In between 1 and 2 also there are some numbers lying, and those numbers are the first place decimal numbers, or we can say 10th place decimal numbers. How many parts do we divide this 1 to 2 section? Is 10 parts. So we have to make 9 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines, and the 10th line should represent the next number. And every mark or every line that you make has a number pointed on it, has a number representation. So first one is 1.1. Next is 1.2. Next is 1.3. Next is 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, and then the next and the next, and then the next number is 2. So this is how these small whole numbers are further divided into 10th place decimals. Similarly, from 2 to 3, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10th should represent 3. So these are main whole numbers. In between, we have decimal representations.